In order to understand Bitcoin's potential to revolutionize the global financial system, we must first understand what it is and why it matters.
Bitcoin is kind of like email for money, right? If you remember, we used to write letters, now we do email. We used to, read the newspaper, now we read content online like Elite Daily. So Bitcoin is the next evolution of financial services. It means it's just a better way to trade money, to store money, and you can do this on a global basis. If you're in Argentina, or you're in China, or you're in San Francisco, it doesn't matter, you can use Bitcoin.
It's essentially digital gold. It's restricted in supply, unlike, say, a central bank who can just print away every day more money. There's a restriction. The algorithm of Bitcoin prevents that from happening.
A lot of Bitcoin people say there's no financial crime that happens whatsoever, and that's not true. There is actually a lot that happens. But on the other hand, it's nowhere near what we think it is. So the US government has done some studies and found out that not a lot of people use it for terrorist financing, but the concern is when those types of people learn about it, they will start to use it for terrorist financing.
Federal agencies have grown concerned over Bitcoin's role in facilitating illegal purchases through a number of black market websites, including Silk Road, which was shut down by the FBI last October. And because the industry has little oversight or regulation, little can be done to bring the perpetrators to justice. Mt. Gox was a Bitcoin exchange based in Tokyo that was handling up to 70% of all Bitcoin transactions as of 2013. Then in February 2014, the Mt. Gox company suspended trading, closing its website and exchange service, and filed for a form of bankruptcy protection from creditors. It announced that around 850,000 Bitcoins belonging to customers and the company were missing and likely stolen, an amount valued at more than $450 million at the time.
8. The numbers. The Bitcoin supply is finite. Production of Bitcoins is romantically called mining, with millions of dollars worth mined or exchanged electronically each day. Every Bitcoin transaction is verified using an extremely complex algorithm, and these verifications are done by a large network of mining computers competing against each other. When a miner successfully verifies a transaction, he or she is rewarded with a small amount of Bitcoins. This is also how new Bitcoins are introduced into the system. And mining is a lot of work. Globally, the network of mining computers is now over 250 times more powerful than the world's top 500 supercomputers combined. Number 4. Know your limits. The number of Bitcoins that can exist is limited to 21 million, and the production rate is scheduled to be halved every 4 years to ensure that the value of a Bitcoin is not lost. This means that supply will run out around 2140, and although miners will no longer be rewarded with new Bitcoins, they will still be paid for their efforts through transaction fees. As it stands today, over a century before the deadline, roughly 64% of Bitcoins sit unused in their respective accounts, appreciating and depreciating with time. Silk Road. The equally infamous Silk Road website used Bitcoins as its form of currency. A black market trading site that specialized in illegal drugs and goods, as well as some more reputable products. It provided browsers with anonymity and made its money using Bitcoins. When alleged site founder Ross Ulbricht was arrested, his estimated fortune was so inconceivable that it's believed that well over half remains unaccounted for. As a side note, the name of Ulbricht's alter ego, Dread Pirate Roberts, was lifted from the movie The Princess Bride. Go figure.
So what was for sale? First, there were illegal drugs of every size and variety. But there were also criminal services. There were black market contact lists for anonymous bank accounts, counterfeit bills, firearms and ammunition, stolen credit cards, and most scary of all, hitmen. Hackers were offering full access to Facebook and Twitter and other social networks. There were digital goods available, everything from pirated software and media to hacked accounts for Netflix and Amazon and hack tools. There were also forgeries, fake licenses, passports, socials, utility bills, credit card statements. The way that the Silk Road hid its users and protected them was by using the Onion router, or Tor for short. The way that Tor works is it conceals its IP addresses of all computers joined into the network. The FBI affidavit records that Tor is practically impossible to physically locate the computers hosting or accessing websites on the network. So how did such a sophisticated black market get shut down? Well, here's the story. The FBI has located some of the Silk Road servers. Some information was found in the United States. Some information was also found in other unspecified foreign countries. The FBI has also located in a certain foreign country the server that was used to host Silk Road's website. On July 23, 2013, the FBI obtained access to an image of the Silk Road server. From that image, here's what we know. In 2011, the Silk Road was created. In January of 2011, a user named Altoid posts on the forum on shroomery.org about Silk Road. He asks if anyone has ever heard of it and that he's thinking of buying off it and wants to know if anyone can recommend it. He also, interestingly, gives the address in order to get to this Silk Road. Just 3 days later, a user named Altoid also posts on the Bitcoin Talk forum, and he asks essentially the same question, if anyone has ever heard of the Silk Road and that he's thinking of buying off it, and he also provides the address. The site continues to grow, and then in June of 2011, the site's forum was updated by the administrator, and he sent this message to all users. Who is Silk Road? Some call me SR admin, or just Silk Road. But isn't that confusing? I am Silk Road, the market, the person, the enterprise, everything. But Silk Road has matured, and I need an identity separate from the site and the enterprise of which I am now only a part. I need a name. Then, in February of 2012, he apparently comes to his conclusion. On the 5th, he writes, drumroll please, my new name is Dread Pirate Roberts. From this time up until September of 2013, the Silk Road grows in popularity until the FBI discovered its location and the identity of Dread Pirate Roberts and is systematically shut down. How did DPR get caught? First of all, remember, in January of 2011, he made 2 forum posts as Altoid. The first one comes across asking if anyone has ever heard of the Silk Road and wanting to buy off it. But here's the thing, this was the only post by that username Altoid. Probably it was to promote the site itself on Shroomery's forums. Also, don't forget that Altoid posted again 3 days later on Bitcoin Talk, and he essentially asked the exact same question. Now the FBI has a lead. Both postings end with the quote, "Let me know what you think." But then, investigators get a major lead. That same user Altoid posts on the Bitcoin Talk forum looking for someone to help him. He says that he needs the best and brightest IT pro in the Bitcoin community to help in a venture-backed Bitcoin startup company. But he leaves his personal email address, rossolbricht@gmail.com. Is it possible that DPR, the owner of the Silk Road, is actually Ross Ulbricht? The FBI begin to investigate. First of all, DPR's posts in the message board on the Silk Road forums had links to Ludwig von Mises, an Austrian economist's YouTube videos. Ross Ulbricht's own Google Plus account had links to the exact same site. At this point, the FBI began to investigate and look at everything that Ross Ulbricht is doing. The FBI have records of a user accessing the Silk Road server from an internet cafe here in San Francisco. Also, interestingly enough, records show from a Google subpoena that Ulbricht regularly logged into his own Google account, less than 500 feet away from this internet cafe. So in July of 2013, Customs and Border Protection intercepts a package from the mail. It was inbound from Canada as part of a routine search. This package had 9 identifications in it. All of them were counterfeit. All of them had Ross Ulbricht's picture on them, and all had different names. When questioned by Homeland Security, Ulbricht apparently said, hypothetically, anyone could have purchased these documents on a website called the Silk Road. At this point, police now have evidence that he knew at least at a minimum about the Silk Road. On March 5th of 2012, a user created an account on stackoverflow.com, a programming forum, and he used a username of Ross Ulbricht. He posted this message, asking if anyone could help him connect a Tor hidden service using curl and PHP. Hours later, he realized his mistake in using Ross Ulbricht as his username, and he changed it. he changes it to Frosty. Several weeks later, Frosty also changed his email on Stack Overflow to frosty@frosty.com. When the FBI began to analyze forensic data from the Silk Road server, they found SSH public keys that had the substring frosty@frosty.com. At this point, the FBI decide they have enough information, and on Tuesday, October 1st of 2013, federal agents arrest Ulbricht in the science fiction section of this public library. He is charged with engaging in a money laundering and narcotics trafficking conspiracy, and also computer hacking. At this time, the Silk Road itself was subsequently shut down, and the FBI seized Bitcoin worth $3.5 to $4 million US.
The FBI says they cannot comment about an ongoing investigation, but has said that the original website processed $1.2 billion in transactions. The new Silk Road claims to be taking the high road, banning child pornography and weapons. The Dread Pirate tweets, "Silk Road, while under my watch, will never harm a soul. If we did, then we are no better than the thugs on the street."